So, I'm very excited right now because I am using a new camera setup. I don't know if you can tell, but it is quite exciting. I am working on a new project and I started thinking about how I was going to film it. And I realized that I could film it using my DSLR camera, which I'm using. Now, for most of my videos lately, I've been shooting on this mini HD webcam, which is really great because it's just super easy to set up. And I use this amazing software, which I can link to down below in case anybody else is really into doing live videos. I do almost all of my videos live now on YouTube and on Facebook. And the webcam, you just plug it in, it's good to go, and it has a decent microphone on it. And then a few weeks ago, I got this microphone repaired, which is my Blue mic. I can link to all my equipment in the description in case you're curious. Because, I've spent a lot of time acquiring things, testing things out, all of that. And anyways, I've had this DSLR camera since 2012, and I have gone through phases where I've used it for everything, for most things, and then now I very, very rarely use it. And it's just been kind of sitting in my closet. And I realized through this project that I'm working on that I could use it to do live videos. So this is maybe the first time I've ever used it for a live video, which is really, really exciting, especially if you're into technology like me and photography, videography, and all that. The webcam was a really great investment because it is so plug and play, and it's this tiny little portable thing that I can bring around, and it creates an almost DSLR camera-like look to it. And the DSLR cameras are classic, they look like the professional cameras, for lack of a better term. So basically you'll have like point and shoot cameras, which are, what we all used to use, or most of us used to use before smartphones came along. And then smartphones came along, and most of us use these now as our kind of point and shoot all-in-one cameras because it's everything combined and it's easy. They fit in our pockets. It's great. The DSLR cameras were kind of in an in-between, an overlap period where the quality of them and the necessity of them was like a big deal for a long time. Like you kind of needed to use them to get the quality. And then technology has been advancing. Now you can get very similar quality on an iPhone and on many other devices. And you can do that with webcams like this one that I pointed out. And so that's why I just haven't used this camera very much. But now that I'm realizing that I can simply leave my tripod up, I just spent a little bit like playing around with all the technology and getting it all set up, and it's actually very simple for me to use this beautiful DSLR camera, and the quality is better. I have my microphone plugged in right now, so it wouldn't make sense, or I don't know actually how I would do it yet, but I could switch between, I really wanted to do this for you, I could switch between the webcam and this camera to give you a before and after look, but then I would lose the audio, and it's just a little too complicated. I don't have enough USB ports on my computer to support all of that. But anyways, that's just like a very nerdy explanation about what I'm excited about today, because I love the way that this looks. The only thing is that this DSLR doesn't have an autofocus option. So if I move just a little bit, you can tell that the focus goes out. So if I go here, well, it's not horrible. It's actually, is it? I don't think it's automatically adjusting. Maybe it's not as extreme as I thought. That's so weird. I'll have to check and see. This camera, because it was in 2012, was like a little before its time in terms of all of the video technology. This camera was, I think, the first Canon DSLR camera to have a video capability, and I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure. And then the technology has just changed so much in the past 6 years. So maybe I'll invest, but I'm going to use this trusty camera and just so I can play around and have some higher quality video for you. And I'm so excited to have this microphone. I would love feedback from anybody watching live. How does this look to you? Do you like the way that this looks? Do you like the way the microphone sounds? Is all the tech working properly? I don't really know. I can look and see like a little preview. It looks like the video is working fine. I just can't hear the audio. Otherwise, you're going to hear it too, and it'll have some weird feedback. In the meantime, I would love to say hi to Janet, who's here, to Alicia, who's been a longtime watcher and doesn't really make it to live videos. I'm so glad that you're here, Alicia. Thank you for being here. I have been doing a daily live video, well, almost every day. For the month of April, I think I missed 2 days out of the month, and then yesterday I was continuing this challenge I'm working on right now, and yesterday I took a day off that I've been trying to figure out what the challenge is going to be like in terms of format. So I started this spring cleaning challenge for the month of April 2018, and I'm saying this just in case people are watching this video later on, but the goal was to do it just in that month, and April felt like it went by pretty fast and a lot happened, and I didn't accomplish as much as I wanted to. So I've kind of had this like loose continuation of the spring cleaning challenge. So I am trying to figure out how my flow is going to be for it. You know, it's really interesting. I've been spending so much time on personal development of myself, personal development in terms of coaching other people. For those of you who don't know, a huge part of my passion and my career is in doing a lot of trainings and coachings. And that's actually going to become a bigger and bigger part of what I'm working on. So a little sneak peek for you is that this year my intention is to shift my brand, evolve the brand to be under the Whitney Lauritsen brand from now on. And I'm not entirely sure what that's going to look like. I'm kind of going to let it evolve organically, but I really feel like Eco Vegan Gal has changed so much. My perception of Eco Vegan Gal, the way that I have addressed things with Eco Vegan Gal, myself as a person has changed so much. And a lot of the people that I admire in terms of careers, they go under their name. So a great example is Chris Carr. She has always been somebody I've looked up to, admired, and seen as a bit of a role model. So Chris Carr, at one point, she had a brand called, I think it was Crazy Sexy Life or something. And she shifted it from Crazy Sexy, the brand, to Chris Carr. And so now her website I think was crazysexylife.com, something like that. And then she shifted it to chriscarr.com. And Crazy Sexy is still part of her brand, but it's also like the Chris Carr brand. So it kind of allows herself to do things above and beyond her cookbooks and her various programs and things like that. And a lot of the other women and men that I admire and look up to, they go under their name. And I just feel like that's a pretty natural evolution. When I started Eco Vegan Gal almost 10 years ago, by the way, this October 2018 will be my 10-year anniversary. And I have been waiting for this benchmark for so long. Once I decided to take Eco Vegan Gal really seriously and make it my full-time business, I realized that that 10-year mark was going to be something really special. And I can't believe it's almost here. It's really crazy to me. You know, it's funny. It's similar with veganism. I've been vegan since 2003, so it's been 15 years. Actually, this month in May, I went vegetarian. I think it was the end of May 2003, and then I went vegan sometime in the fall 2003. So along with this fall being a milestone for Eco Vegan Gal, it's also a milestone for me with my veganism, because I'm hitting the 15-year anniversary of being vegan this fall, and I'm hitting the 10-year anniversary of Eco Vegan Gal. So this fall calls for a lot of celebration, and it will also be that transitionary period for Whitney Lauritsen, and that is a lot of my brand is just moving more and more into that, because I have a deep, deep love for coaching and mentoring people. And that's something I've been doing for years, kind of on the side, on the back burner, just kind of feeling it out. And the more that I tune into myself, the more I realize that that is where I want to take things. So I had a reason for bringing that up, and now I can't fully remember it. But anyways, I I think it's because through the month of doing the spring cleaning challenge, the tidying challenge has really brought so much clarity in my life. And I still have more to go. I still have more tidying to do, more selling, so much that I want to accomplish. And that's why I want to keep this challenge going. So if you're unfamiliar with the challenge, there's a link to it down below in the description. You can check it out. You can sign up for it. You'll get emails from me. You'll get the recordings of all these videos I've done. This is, I think, the 30th video. So there was 30 videos. If you didn't see all of them or didn't see any of them, you can get access to all the recordings. I'm going to kind of bundle it up and put that in some nice organized fashion and maybe create like a PDF or something. I'm still thinking about what I can do with everything that I learned, because through the process of tidying over the month of April and now at the beginning of May, I feel like I've evolved so much. And I think the reason I was bringing that up is because yesterday was a pretty lazy day for me. I'm trying to think, actually, no, it wasn't. I take that back. It's so interesting how time shifts when you tune more into yourself. And one big thing that I'm working on for myself is really looking at life through a different lens that feels a lot more true to who I am, more authentic. I'm shedding a lot of layers and really focused on evolving and taking off the mask that I've been wearing. You know, I think we have a tendency to wear these masks to protect ourselves, to be who we think we should be, to please other people, to win approval, to get validated, all of that. And so a lot of times we're not really being true to ourselves. And I have just this deep, deep desire. I think most of us have this desire to truly live life on our own terms and be who we really want to be. And I think it's an amazing time in society because we have so many examples of other people who are leading that way. And I think there's a big cultural shift happening, at least in the United States and other similar countries, is there's like almost like an awakening happening. And a lot of that happens as a result of trauma, as a result of challenging times in our society. So, for example, the Me Too movement that's happening as a result of all these news stories breaking about how women have been abused in various ways. And I think that gives us the opportunity to step up and say, this is how we want to live, and that's not acceptable anymore. We see that happening in the U.S., especially right now with guns and the gun violence that has happened. I mean, it's amazing what has happened in just a few months after the shootings that happened in Florida, where now these teenagers are stepping up and being so brave, like taking these acts of courage and saying, we won't stand for this. And I think the more that starts to happen, the more that we see other people doing that, we give ourselves permission. One thing that I'm really passionate about giving people permission to be is not just be themselves, but live a life that really feels right to them. And so how this ties into what I was talking about at the beginning is how, you know, I committed to doing this challenge for the month of April. And my goal was to do 30 days straight, 30 live videos, 30 emails, and really stay on track with it. Now, that was a big stretch for me because I have trouble with consistency. That's something that I'm working on. I have resistance to that, and I have trouble staying on track with things, and I often veer off course a lot. And I'm really trying to uncover the reasons for that behavior. And so one thing I really wanted to try in last month was to hold myself accountable for doing something every day. And I really achieved that for the most part. I wasn't perfect. Like I said, I think I missed 2 days out of the month. So that's not bad, right? Especially for something that's hard for me. And I'm really proud of that accomplishment. It would have been really awesome to do 30 days. But I also did a 30-day yoga challenge in January. And honestly, even after 30 days of doing it, it didn't shift my life as much as I thought it was going to be. So again, the point, tying these experiences into each other is that I'm really just trying to tune into why I'm doing things and what feels great for me. And I think that that's hard to identify sometimes. I think that there's a lot of cultural expectations. There's a lot of training that we've had in terms of how we were raised by our teachers, our family, our friends, and the culture that we grew up in. There's so many things that we have to kind of filter through to figure out who we really are and what we want in life. Because if we were raised, it's so minute. Like a personal example for me is that I have incredibly supportive parents, and relative to a lot of people, I see that my parents are truly amazing. I was raised in a beautiful part of the country. I grew up in Massachusetts on a horse farm, so I was surrounded by animals and fresh air and green grass. We had acres of land. I grew up in a very safe town, and so my childhood was mostly, because I think we moved there when I was like 2 or 3. I don't know. I don't remember exactly, but most of my life until I moved was spent in this really ideal town with supportive, loving parents. My parents are still together, which is rare, right? They are happily married as far as I can tell, and they've told me, like, unless that's who knows, like, it's so interesting how the older you get, the more real life becomes, and you start to see what's behind some of these masks. But I assume my parents have always seemed fairly happy, and they've seemed happy relatively as a couple, right? And again, like I see the privilege in the lifestyle that I had. And yet, despite the privileges that I had, I still have a lot of emotional scarring. I still have limiting beliefs, and I have a lot of things to work through, right? So I think most of us do. And that has shown me that very small things in life can affect us in very big ways, right? It's like this ripple effect where a drop in the ocean can create a wave type of metaphor. It's like maybe once or a couple times I was told something and I believed it and took it on, and I spent so much of my life believing something that may not be true. And I'm really fascinated by that. And I'm especially fascinated by working through it so that I can find the tools that help me and pass them on to other people. And that's a pretty long-winded answer to share why I'm evolving a lot of Eco-Vegan Gal, and the things that I'm learning through just the process of tidying is that by going through my home and seeing what I've owned, what I've kept in here, and seeing the things that are serving me, and seeing how there's things that I've kept that no longer serve me, and noticing my resistance to things like consistency and resistance to research and resistance to making decisions and resistance to selling. And there's all of these emotions that got tied into something as simple as tidying, right? But through that process and noticing all of these things about myself, I started to be able to connect deeper with who I am. And by clearing things, I've said this so many times, but I feel like it's always worth reiterating that by clearing away things physically out of my life and mentally, emotionally, I have been able to allow so much room. And it feels like I'm in a greater connection and understanding with the universe or God or whatever energy is out there. And even today, for example, some interesting things happened that were I feel like just little messages. So I have been reading this really great book, which I think is behind me on my messy bed area. Right. What you see behind me, by the way, is one of my robes. And this is my rebounder, which is a mini trampoline that's on its side. And then my bed and some stuff under the bed. And then over here, I have Evie, who's sleeping on my other robe. I have 2 robes. I have a fluffy purple robe. And then I have like a silky, it's not silk, it's some other material, silky printed floral robe, depending on my mood. And so Evie's sleeping on that in a pillow. And I haven't even tidied up in my home today because I basically spent a good portion of my day in bed reading, and then got out and I've been on my computer in meetings and or one meeting that took a lot hours, and working on projects, and now recording this video. So, okay, so back to the book, which is where a lot of tangents happening today as I'm sharing organically. I have been started reading this great book last night by Don, I think is it Don Miguel Ruiz, who's known for The Four Agreements. He has this other book that I've been wanting to read for years about love. I think it's called The Mastery of Love. It is such a beautiful book. His books, I mean, I'm halfway done, and I've only been reading it for a few hours. And it just kind of got me to think about how we can choose to live in our life in love or fear. And a big thing of mine right now, personal goal, is to move out of fear and live my life more from a place of love. Maybe not 100%, not sure if that's fully possible, but living from a place of love most of the time, as much as I can, and really stepping away from fear. And I was thinking about this, meditating on it. It was just like really in my consciousness last night and today. And I got an opportunity today to approach what could have been a very challenging situation from a place of love instead of fear. And let me just tell you, it was such a remarkable difference, and it really showed how far I've come in such a short amount of time. I mean, I will say this is compounding, right? So this is the result of years and years of personal development, because that's been a passion of mine since I was young. But I feel like the momentum I've been building, and even just through the process of tidying over the course of this challenge that I've been running, is to see how the effects, like the more tuned in I am, the more I clear out the clutter, the more centered I am, grounded, the more I'm practicing meditation and reading books and just dedicating so much time into all of this, the more the results start to come. And I'm so grateful for all those little reminders and tests and opportunities of practice, and just being able to share that with you so that hopefully you'll be inspired as well. Kaya said, or Janet from Veggie Lover said, I have a problem with consistency too. This challenge has helped me a lot with that. I'm so glad to hear that. And I think a lot of people struggle with consistency. I think it is a very common challenge, and it gets in the way of a lot of progress, and I don't fully have all the answers, but I would like one day to have some more answers to help each of you with working through these challenges and getting to your goals. And Kaya said, presumably what you own is a reflection of who you are and your lifestyle, but it's often who you want to be. Ooh, yes. Yes. I'm trying to reflect on that in terms of my home does not feel very tidy right now. Right now, my closet's overflowing with stuff I need to organize. My bed's not made. It's in a bit of a disarray, but I've noticed that by spending like 20 minutes, 30 minutes tidying, I can get my place to be really nice. And it just feels completely different when everything is organized properly in here, which is great. That's another big benefit of tidying, is that once you do a massive tidying, it's very easy to keep it up and kind of keep order. So in terms of what my home reflects of me and the things that I own, I'm trying to think if they say more about who I am now or who I want to be. I would say my home and the things that I own are more about who I am now, because generally, like the things that I want to be, for example, some of you may know that just talking about this brings up like so many emotions, but some of you may know that I am working towards getting a Tesla Model 3, and it's been something on my mind this entire year. I think I saw the first Model 3 in person in December, sat in one at the end of January, and started to feel like I really wanted one in February, and kind of through the course of February of this year, figured out how to get one. So at first you have to get a reservation for one. So I have the reservation. It's ready to order. But this is a big financial commitment, right? And it's been really it's like a lot. It feels overwhelming to me. But I am so ready for this car. but it's just, I guess maybe not fully ready, or I don't know if there's a lot of emotions tied into it, because there's something about a Tesla that has, for most of the time that they've been around, a Tesla has felt out of reach for me. And the Model 3 is a less expensive Tesla, but still right now the ones that are available are pricey, and it would be the most expensive car I've ever owned. So there's a lot of emotions tied into that, but I bring that up because the Tesla represents who I want to be and who I'm becoming. It is a person that believes in myself more, this person that doesn't have as many limitations, this person that is courageous, and this person that is gotten into the flow with her career, that she has the financial means to pay for this car. And it's not out of reach for me at all. And I have spent a lot of time reflecting on how it would fit into my life. It's just, for me, the next step is to actually just place the order for it and trust that I'm going to be committed enough to make all the payments and to just make it happen, right? And it's nerve-wracking to me, but that is who I want to be. And so when I think about what I'm going to own, about who I'm going to be, is that. The other funny thing is, anytime I make a large purchase, I think about these things. So another example is this. This is the Apple HomePod, and I felt like this was such an indulgence when I bought this, but I love this so much. I'm so in love with the HomePod more and more. But I remember when I got it, I was thinking, like, should I be spending the money on this? Because it's one of the most expensive speakers in its class, right? It's like Apple and Tesla have a very similar range, right? And so this felt like a big decision for me to get this, because I didn't need it, but it's actually really awesome. And so I remember when I got that, it felt like a big deal to decide to put money into that. And I felt the same way. This is funny too, is I got a Nintendo Switch last fall. And I think that was because, I can't remember why, but I had some extra money, and I just wanted it. And I remember like feeling, it was so interesting to go like buy this thing I didn't really need, but it brought me a lot of joy. And so I've been slowly giving myself permission to have things like that. And I realized that I've spent a lot of my life thinking that maybe I didn't deserve it, or maybe I wasn't worthy or capable of it. Maybe it was too luxurious, all of these different mentality things. But the more I tune into myself, the easier it is to make decisions, right? Like the HomePod, now that I have it. And I remember just getting the HomePod. It was actually mostly a no-brainer for me because of the variety of things. But I just felt like it was the right decision, and I have no regrets over buying that. I use it every single day, and it's awesome, and it keeps getting better, and it's such a cool device to have. And the Switch, like when I was using it actively, I was like so awesome. It was definitely worth it. I'm glad that I did that. So I think that my point is, the more you tune into yourself, the more you're able to make those decisions about things that might be big purchases. But you can also start to decide what you're going to become. And I'm actually a lot of the coaching that I do and mentoring with people is around money. I have been really fascinated with money my entire life, as long as I can remember. And money has just been one of those things that I'm always thinking about. How do I acquire it? I've always been very entrepreneurial since I was like a little kid. I was always brainstorming how to make money and be crafty. My parents didn't really give me an allowance, so I felt super committed to like finding ways to pay for the things that I wanted. And yet somehow along the way, I developed a lot of limiting beliefs, which is very common for people about money. And I think the society perpetuates it in a lot of ways. And so a big passion of mine is helping people work through their money issues so that they can make easier decisions, whether they want to buy a Tesla or they want to get a Prius or they want to get a BMW or they want to get a Toyota, like, or a Ford or whatever, like, you know, all these different decisions. It comes a used car, a new car, a lease, so to buy, like those type of decisions. And someone who might want to buy a house or to, you know, pursue education, and all of these things that come up for us when we're making big purchases in our life. Is my goal is to help people really figure out how to let their heart guide them more than their head, because I think our head can really mess with the way that we live our lives. And coming back to something I wanted to share earlier is when I made the decision to quit my last full-time job 8 years ago, it was one of the best decisions I've ever made, and it's shaped me and pushed me in so many incredible ways. And it's been scary, it's been hard, it's been exciting, it's been easy, it's been so many different things over the years. And it's wonderful because on days like this, I will wake up and I won't look at my phone, I won't look at the time, I will just live my life the way that I want. And when it feels necessary or important, I'll look at my phone and I'll check my emails and my text messages and I'll tune back into the world. But I remember even as far as super recently when I would let other people dictate how I lived my life every day. And the more that I clear away the mental clutter, the more that I do all this tidying, the easier it is for me to make decisions and be my own guiding light. And I really wish the same for each of you, and know that it's possible. Not everybody wants to live the same type of life, and we all can make that choice over how we want to live. And all I ask for others is to tune in to let people know that they are worthy of whatever choices they want to make, and that they can choose the lifestyle that they want. My biggest wish is that people will let themselves out of the box and see life fully 360 degrees instead of with blinders on, thinking that life is only this certain way or only within the confines of a box. The more that I tap into personal development and myself and again, clearing away all those clutters and limiting beliefs, the more I feel like life is just endless possibilities and whatever we want to make it. And it's so beautiful. And we are so fortunate to be alive. So let's live life with as much heart and passion and choice as we possibly can. So that's what's on my heart right now. I'm going to read some comments and then wrap up the video. And Green Dragon said, do you have any vegan or vegetarian relatives? What about my parents? So I'm trying to think if anyone in my family is currently vegan. A lot of my family members have dabbled in veganism and vegetarianism. My parents are pescatarian. My sister is mainly pescatarian. She dabbles in veganism a lot. She gets very excited about veganism. But the three, my parents and my sister, all three of them feel a little bit attached to fish and sometimes dairy. So, you know, they don't really eat other types of animal products, but they're still partly. And that was inspired by my decision years ago. And then my cousins, a few of them have dabbled in it. My uncle, one of my uncles has dabbled in vegetarianism. I think he might still be vegetarian. I'm not sure. And maybe a few other people in my family, but I don't think anyone else is 100% vegetarian or vegan. And it's cool when they are, you know. I'm not attached to whether or not people go vegetarian or vegan because there's so many factors. Just like money, like diet and money are so similar. I was talking about this in a meeting last week where we were just discussing, it's just a lot about limiting beliefs, you know, and where people are at with their lives. And some people are ready to go vegetarian and vegan, and some people are terrified, they're offended, they're confused by it, they're overwhelmed by it. There's just so many factors that go into whether or not somebody makes these changes in their life. And so that's why it all comes down to a lot of limiting beliefs, and why I'm so passionate about personal development. It's because when you can tap into your heart and see life from a place of love and not fear, decisions are so much easier to make and life is a lot less overwhelming. And it's easier for you to see the difference between animal products and plant-based products. And it's easier to see life from a place of abundance versus scarcity. And most of the reasons that people choose to see life through a limited perspective is just a lot because of fear. And that's no fault of their own. It's just unless they know better, they won't make those choices. So my goal as I evolve my brand, especially moving into Whitney Lauritsen, the brand is, as opposed to just Eco Vegan Gal, the brand is helping people really tap into their heart so that they can make better choices for themselves in terms of their lifestyles and their careers. And Kaya asked, does Tesla have a cachet? What does that mean? Does Tesla have a cachet? I'm not sure. I'm going to look that up right now. I don't know what that term means. Meaning like in terms of data collection or something like that? I don't know. I don't know what that term means, so I'd love you to explain it if you're still here. Green Dragon asked, do you really play video games? Yes, I do. I got really excited about the Nintendo Switch last fall because my sister and I have had a Nintendo 64 since we were kids. And one of the things that we like to do during the holidays is to play video games together. And we got on this kick for years. We were playing, like recently, for the past maybe 5 years or so. When we were together, we just play like a Mario Kart game or like Donkey Kong or something like that. And it was just kind of nostalgia. And so one day I was looking up games to buy as like a gift for my sister, and I saw that Nintendo had this new console called the Nintendo Switch. Came out last year, 2017, I think. And I saw that they had this like new Mario game, and I was like, I have to have that. Like, I was totally reverting back to childhood and seeing a commercial and just like wanted it so badly. So I splurged and I bought it for myself last Thanksgiving, right before I went home to see my sister. So that was part of it, is that I wanted to surprise her and have this like new Nintendo system. And it was so much fun. It brought me so much joy that I was so grateful I made the decision. You know, it had a return period, so I could have returned it, and I you know, spent money on games. And actually there's a new game coming out in a couple days that I have been anticipating like a little kid. I am so excited for the new version of Donkey Kong to come out for the Nintendo Switch because it just brings me joy. It's like the nostalgia, and it's a fun thing to do. And you know, maybe it'll keep me from watching television and movies, because I do tend to binge watch TV and watch movies. It's a very regular thing for me. And I think that entertainment is nice. It's a nice escape, but it's also a lot of information going into our heads that perhaps isn't super beneficial. So sometimes it's nice to just play a video game to get some entertainment, to take a mental break, and go back to like what it felt like to be a kid, I suppose. So that's why I like playing video games. And I really like the social element of playing video games. So any game where they have like 2 players or multiplayers, like I have Mario Kart for the Switch, and like I never play it alone, but it's a great game to play with a group of friends and to have a bunch of people over and everybody's racing each other. It's just a cool experience. So yeah, I like the experience of playing video games. And Rainbow said, are you planning to do more challenges? Yes, actually, I am thinking of doing more. I kind of wanted to start one right away, but since I haven't fully finished the spring cleaning challenge, I'm going to give it some time. And I've just really enjoyed the process of this challenge. So I plan on doing another one. The next one I was thinking of is maybe doing a fitness challenge, because I'm going to get back into fitness any day now. My yoga membership had been on pause, and I think it comes off pause in the next few days. So I'll be back going to yoga, and I might just try to do another daily yoga challenge. It scares me a little because it's a lot of work. It can be very exhausting. It's the thing about yoga is it's so rewarding, but it also feels exhausting to me. And and so in terms of like, it's 20 minutes. It's like I have to basically the yoga that I go to right now is this process of driving there, sitting in traffic, going to class, getting ready for class, showering afterwards, driving home. It's just like this 2.5 hour process of each day. It's a big time commitment, and energetically sometimes I find it very draining. So I have kind of this mixed feelings, a lot of resistance around yoga, ironically, because yoga is so great for our body, minds, and souls. So I look forward to getting back into it, but I also kind of am dragging my feet, to be honest. So maybe a challenge with online would help. As I mentioned, I did a 30-day yoga challenge as part of my yoga studio at the beginning of this year, and I was like, this is great. What a perfect way. Actually, now that I think about it, no, I think the challenge was in January. I know there was like a New Year's yoga class that I almost went to, but I think that the actual challenge I did was in January. Yeah, I'm almost positive. And it was wonderful, but it was a challenge for me. It was a big push. I pushed myself a little too hard. I injured myself slightly from yoga, and so that's part of the reason I took a break. And yeah, I guess it didn't like change my life as much as I thought it was. I thought it was gonna like help me be super consistent, and I thought, oh great, I'm gonna go to yoga so much after this. But after 30 days straight of yoga, I was tired and I didn't want to go. So it was like a little too much for me. So yoga to me is really about finding the balance and the rhythm, and I'm out of the rhythm right now. So maybe doing a group challenge would be fun. There was another challenge idea I had. I think about a meal planning challenge that I might do as well. So stay tuned. The best way to stay part of this is to subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so you know when I go live and when new videos are out. Even if you don't see them live, you'll still get the notification. And then you can also sign up for the newsletter. So if you click the link right down below in the description field of this video, there's a link to sign up for the spring cleaning challenge. You can still sign up if you haven't yet. And if you don't want to be part of that specific challenge, I think below that, let me check and see, there should be a link to just my newsletter list, period. Let's see. Yes, if you scroll further down in my description, it says sign up for the EVG newsletter. And EVG stands for Eco Vegan Gal. And yeah, if you sign up for that, then you'll be notified of things. And I'm really working on doing more regular newsletters. So one of these days I'll be more consistent. I've been really consistent with the challenge. I've enjoyed writing newsletters, and my goal is to really have like a weekly newsletter that goes out every week, and it has like everything you need to know, everything that's going on, and we'll keep you posted on things like challenges and giveaways and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, stay tuned. And Yadi just asked, I've gone to yoga practice at a yoga studio before. I liked it for the people and energy, but those take time. Yes. I much prefer going to a studio for exercise than staying at home and exercising. It's very hard for me to be motivated to work out. Like, I'm not someone that has found a lot of joy in running. I enjoy the process of running sometimes, but I have never kept up a regular running practice. And I don't know if it's just about consistency and habit forming, or if it's just not something that suits me. Yoga really suits me. I really love so much about yoga. It's just that sometimes the process of going to yoga is a little too much for me. So my yoga studio is awesome. It's just that like it's on a part of town where there's traffic in LA. So just getting out the door and driving there and parking and, it's like checking in and going to my locker. It's just like so much. So that's why I haven't been going. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to do some reading. I've got to go grocery shopping. and I may write a newsletter to people in the challenge tonight, so stay tuned for that. Thank you for allowing me to test out my new setup with my DSLR camera. I love the way it looks, and I love that even though my hair, I haven't put on makeup, I didn't, or nothing was done to be prepared for this video. I'm wearing like my cozy sweater, and my makeup, my bed's not made, my hair's not brushed, there's no makeup on. This is just pure, authentic Whitney, and I love that I can show up like this and just chat with you. So thank you for listening. Thanks for those of you who are here live, part of the conversation. Thanks for those of you watching the recording. I hope this was valuable to you. And one thing that I am working on is a podcast. And so something I would really like to do is to offer audio versions of all of these long videos. So stay tuned, because one day that'll be there, like these videos that are like 45 minutes. So you could just listen to the audio version of it. And I'm working on how that system is going to be handled. So that's that, and I will see you very soon. Not sure when I'll be doing it, my next video. I do intend to do a live video this coming Friday, the 4th. May the 4th be with you. So that may be my next video, and it'll be at about 5. I feel like I have something on my schedule on Friday. Oh, okay. It probably will be, I'll probably do that video actually earlier in the day, because I have to actually, I'm going to participate in a YouTube study at Google's headquarters. Google has the coolest headquarters, and one of their headquarters is in Venice Beach. It's so fun to go there. So I'm super excited. I'm going to participate in a study to try out some features they haven't released yet, which is really fun. And I'm doing that from 3 to 4, and that's like in a part of town where there's a ton of traffic. So I might do my actual live videos earlier. So I'm looking at my schedule. If any of you love being here live and you actually want to put this on your calendar or know when my next video will be, it'll probably be this Friday, May 4th at 2 p.m. Pacific time. And Rainbow says, yay, I'm looking forward to the next challenge. I'm so grateful to have you part of this community, Rainbow. I'm looking forward too. And Zahar, I apologize, I stumble over names. Zahara, is that how you pronounce it? Says, thanks for sharing your inspiration. I'm looking forward to the next live video. You're so welcome. I appreciate you being here, and I look forward to getting to know you better. I don't know if I've ever said your name out loud, so I don't recognize your name, but it really excites me when I see new people here and get to know each of you. And, people like Janet from Veggie Lover and Yachty and Green Dragon, Kaya. There are so many people here that tune in regularly and comment regularly, and I feel like I know each of you. So the more you comment, the more I'm able to get to know you. And if you haven't noticed, I have been commenting on each comment on my channel, and that's actually through my assistant. So I have a part-time assistant now, and she comes in once or twice a week. And one of the things she helps me with is commenting. So she'll actually go through all the comments and help me. She'll actually type them out and I'll dictate what I want to say and all that. And that's like been awesome, because now I get to connect with you more, and I've been reading more comments, and so much is changing. So thanks again, Alicia. It was really great to have you here, and wishing you all the very best, each of you, with where you are in your life and your tithing, your personal development. I'm here for you. I love having this community. I'm so excited as things evolve with the work that I'm doing to just keep building upon this, so that we can each feel better as individuals and evolve the collective consciousness so that everybody around us feels better and lives better. And that's really a big goal of mine. So thanks for being part of that. And I will see you either tomorrow on May 3rd, or at the very latest on May 4th, Friday, this coming Friday, here on this channel at 2 p.m. Pacific time. Until then, bye.